So Mark Austin and I became developers. We've never done multi-res before. We all know the problems. We've got a climate catastrophe unfolding and affordability's never been worse. Knowing that density's part of the solution, we've stayed out of it. And it's mainly because the developers that have approached us have been disinterested in solutions and in innovation. And they've really just wanted to leverage our brand. But it just got to the point where Mark and I sort of just said, well, shit, we better do it ourselves, put our money where our mouths are. And the core things that we wanted to deal with were deliberative design. So just like we do in single residential, is get to know our client base because they're owner-occupiers and design with them. That we centrally tackle climate change, that we have really good urban regeneration, we're financially sustainable now and into the future, and we use democratized capital. So what we did was we went out to all of our past clients, and so many of them, you know, agreed that they should help other people access housing. So they all chipped in $100,000 each, which was gorgeous to fund us. Even Leon Van Schaik threw in risk to hold his money, as did some of our staff and Mark and I. Incredible location, right next to Brunswick Baths, the library, little pocket park right near Berkeley Square's shopping centre, but an odd site in that it faces east-west. It's only 10 metres by 57 metres long, so we only fit 4 apartments per floor plate and no aspect towards the north. So with east and west orientation, we invested in external roller blinds that not only protect the glass, but they actually are all the way out protecting the balconies, which is unlike the vast majority of apartment buildings you see all around Melbourne. All of this unprotected glazing, complete thermal heat sinks, relying on air conditioning to moderate temperature. We've got our main pedestrian access coming off Saxon Street. Saxon Street has got a checkered history, violent crime and the rest happening on there. So it's part of regeneration, getting, having passive surveillance, but also activity in a cafe to help repair that part of the street. In terms of language, we're trying to tie in with the beautiful arches all the way up and down Sydney Road. But before we built the building, we built the community. We've got artists, nurse, police officer, lots of people that have sort of been priced out of the housing market. They all had very similar sort of aggregated responses. Minimum costs now and in the future, maximum resilience. They wanted a tough building they could live in forever, and they wanted it to be simple where they could imprint themselves onto that building. And big was family. They wanted something in between a home and an apartment. So because of the size of our buildings, we went for a stacked terrace house plan. Sustainable transport, the bikes are all stored right at the entry gate. You don't have to bring it out of a basement or anything like that. Your bike is right there. It's the first thing you either pick up or drop off when you come home. Long, thin plans, incredibly well insulated, but if you need to purge it, you can throw it all open and get through breezes through it. Between those red lines, it is identical on every single level. So we've got this great efficiency in terms of structure and servicing as well, driving down costs and increasing efficiency. Beautiful study spaces that create these communities within communities. But the fun stuff, the numbers. 8.1 stars. We had, at the time when we got the permits, we had to achieve 6. We were aiming for 7.5 and we got to 8.1, maxing out at 8.7. You know, bulk insulation, really efficient thermally separated glazing, average annual energy consumption 51.1 millijoules per square metre, which is, by our calculations, 44% of what it would have been if it was a 6-star building in terms of the energy use consumption. The best rating, 77%, so obviously, you know, 70% being excellence, 50% being best practice. The air tightness, out of control. We were aiming for a very high level of air tightness and we almost doubled it to almost passive house standards. And that's because we pushed the builder bloody hard, because we were investing in energy recovery units in every single apartment. They have their own energy recovery, so it's constantly moving fresh air and doing really efficient heat exchange with minimal energy loss. We're right in between trams and trains. So this is all about being able to get fresh air constantly and moderate the temperature without noise and dust. In the light wells, we've got misters that are dropping the temperature by about 10 degrees, and that's where we're doing the air intake for the ERV, so we're already pre-cooling it in summer. No air conditioning, but it's designed, it's pre-provisioned. So in a climate crisis, who knows what the future will bring, and also people with health and age may need air conditioning, so that can be done in a very clean and efficient way. There is no heating. Torsten, our passive house consultant, has designed the thermal envelope so that all the toys in the house and the human body will keep this temperature, and also the ERVs will keep it steady. But of course, we can use, the purchasers know they can add a really high efficiency electric panel if they need to in any space, knowing that the air is constantly circulating. Monthly power bills, it's only moved into in November. So this is all kind of rough information, but you know, $47 including meterage for 144 kilowatts. Average Victorian power bill, as you probably know, is about $137 a month. The concrete is awesome. Hollow core, so we've got less concrete, but also we've taken out the central wall that goes through. So we've gotten rid of all that concrete, which is great for sound transmission as well. And we're bridging with planking elements. So we've got, we've used 50% fly ash, recycled aggregate. We're going for 50% recycled water through the use of concrete. We did 100% with Capital, the builders. No central dividing wall. That means no formwork as well. No mucking around, pouring wet concrete, having trucks and all of the carbon miles that are associated with that. So it's a sacrificial formwork as well as a structure. And then carbon offset, I found out about an hour ago, this hasn't been done yet. Capital doing carbon offset for the entire construction. Carbon bill, all electric, no gas, fossil fuel free, 11 kilowatts of solar, which is the max we could get on this roof just because of orientation issues. Embedded energy network, buying green energy cheaper than you can buy coal. Electric cooktops, electric barbecue, low VOC.
1 minute remaining.
What's that? Oh, 1 minute.
1 minute, yep. Master
Switches, so you can shut down the apartment when you leave. 90%, almost 90% of construction waste was recycled. And in terms of great management plan for waste for residents as well, including battery and electronics recycling. The site was absolutely stuffed in terms of contamination. We found 3 tanks, and we pulled those out, and we remediated 735 square metres of soil. It's a 570 square metre site, so we basically dug a basement and remediated it. 1,000 litres of water for the gardens. We're capturing all of the sprinkler purge system too. Instead of just purging it out into to stormwater, we're reusing that on the gardens. Great fixtures and fittings in terms of efficiency, and trying to get as much water onto the gardens as possible so it looks like that as soon as possible in terms of greenery on the building and reducing heat island effect. Almost done. Super resilient, simple materials. That was a big part. Not only does it drive costs down, but it's a big part from the owners. Green transport, 55 bikes, no car parks, car share right next door, and obviously a huge amount. We're in between a tram, train, and bus as well, and bike paths everywhere. 0 cars means we don't have a roller door, we have a cafe. And these final slide, this is calculated on a 60-year lifespan. Obviously, this is going to be here at least double that, but you know, we've saved 102 million balloons worth of carbon predicted in the operation of this building because of the efficiency that we have.